Welcome to a reading of The Tempest. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of our players do, I had as lief the town crier spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand thus, but use all gently, for, as I may say in the torrent, whirlwind, tempest of your passion you must acquire and beget a temperance that may give it smoothness. Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious periwig-pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to split the ears of the groundlings, who, for the most part, are capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. Pray you, avoid it. Be not too tame, neither, but let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word to the action, with this special observance that you o'erstep not the modesty of nature, for anything so o'erdone is from the purpose of playing, whose end, both at the first and now, was and is to hold as 'twere the mirror up to nature, to show virtue her own feature, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of the time his form and pressure. Now, this overdone, or come tardy off, though it make the unskilful laugh, cannot but make the judicious grieve, the censure of the which one must in your allowance o'erweigh a whole theatre of others. Pray you, players, set the mark. Let us begin. Act 1, Scene 1. On a ship at sea.
Bosun!
Here, master. What cheer?
Good, speak to the mariners. Fall to it yarely, or we run ourselves aground. Bestir, bestir!
High my hearts! Cheerly! Cheerly, my hearts! Here! Take a bit topsail. Tend to the master's whistle. Blow till thou burst thy wind, if room enough.
Good bosun, have care. Where's the master? Play the men.
I pray now, keep below.
Where is the master, bosun?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labor. Keep your cabins. You do assist the storm.
Nay, good, be patient.
When the sea is, hence! What cares these roars for the name of king? To cabin! Silence! Trouble us not!
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I love more than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you have lived so long, and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour, if it so hap. Cheerly, cheerly, good hearts! Out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is pure gallows. Stand fast, good fate, to his hanging. Make the rope of his destiny our cable, for our own doth little advantage. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast! Yare! Lower, lower! Bring her to try with the main course.
Ah!
A plague upon this howling. They are louder than the weather or our office. Yet again? What do you here? Shall we give o'er and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
A pox on your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, and charitable dog!
Work you then!
Hang her, hang you, whoreson, insolent noisemaker. We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
I'll warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell and as leaky as an unstaunched winch.
Lay her a hold! A hold! Send her 2 courses off to sea again. Lay her off!
All lost! To prayers, all lost!
What, must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince at prayers. Let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
I am out of patience.
We are merely cheated of our lives by drunkards. This white-chopped rascal. Would thou mightest lie drowning the washing of 10 tides?
He'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at wits to glut him.
Mercy on us!
We split!
Farewell, my wife and children.
Farewell, brother!
We split!
Let's all sink with the king.
Let's take leave of him.
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground, long heath, brown furs, anything. The wills above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
Act 1, Scene 2. The island before Prospero's cell.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel who had no doubt some noble creature in her dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth or air. It should the good ship so have swallowed, and the frothing cells within her.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day.
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater father.
More to know, did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee, father. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garments from me. So.
Prospero lays
Lie.
down his mantle.
Lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee I have with such provision in mine art, so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair betid to any in the vessel which thou heardst cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for thou must now know farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour's now come. The very minute bids thee ope thine ear. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came into this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Of anything the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda, but how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayst.
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are not you my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter. And thy father was Duke of Milan, and his only heir and princess, no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens, what foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed west we did?
Both, my girl, by foul play, as thou say'st, were we heaved hence, but blessedly helped hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think off the team that I had turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please, you further.
My brother and thy uncle called Antonio, I pray thee mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as that at that time, through all the signories, it was the first, and Prospero the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity and for the liberal arts without a parallel, those being all my study. The government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else new formed them to what tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk and sucked my verdure out on't. Thou attend'st not?
Oh, good sir, I do.
I pray thee mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind with that which, but by being so retired, or prized all popular rate in my false brother, awaked an evil nature. And my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood, in its contrary as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound, he being thus ordered not only with what my revenue yield, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie. He did believe. He was indeed the Duke, out of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative, hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute villain. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough of temporal royalties, he thinks me now incapable. Confederate, so dry he was for sway with the king of Naples, to give him annual tribute, to do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom yet unbowed. Alas, poor Millen, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens!
Now the condition. The king of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens to my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Millen with all the honors on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and thy crying self.
Alack for pity! I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to it.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now's upon us, without the which this story were most impertinent.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not, so dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody, but on the business, but with colors fairer painted their foul ends. In few they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea. There they hoist us to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds whose pity sighing back again did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was they then to you?
Cherubim thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt under my burden groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzala, out of her charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steaded much. So of her gentleness, knowing I loved my book, she furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see this woman?
Now I arise.
Prospero puts on his mantle.
sit still and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here, in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princes can that have more time and for vainer hours and tutors not so careful.
Heavens, thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind your reason for raising this sea storm.
No, thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now my dear lady hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not, but omit my fortunes, will ever after droop. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, my servant, come. I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
All hail, great master, grave sir, hail. We come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding, task, Ariel in all her quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article.
I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin. I flamed amazement.
Sometime I divide and burn in many places on the topmast, the yards and bowsprit, would I flame distinctly.
Then meet and join. Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thunder claps, more momentarily in sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege, and make his bold waves tremble, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who is so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect her reason, huh?
Not a soul, but felt the fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged into the foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then all afire with me. The king's son, Ferdinand, was the first man that leapt, cried, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here."
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badest me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son I have landed by himself, whom I left cooling the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting, his arms in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners, say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook there she's hid. All the mariners under hatches stowed, who with a charm joined to their suffered labor, I have left asleep. And for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they all have met again, and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked and his great person perished.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there's more work. What is the time of day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed to me.
How now? Moody? What is't thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out? No more?
I prithee, remember we have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistakings, served without or grudge or grumblings. Thou did promise to bate me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost! And think'st it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth, when it is baked with frost?
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing! Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Where was she born? Speak, tell me.
Sir, in Argier.
Who was she so? I must once in a month recount what thou hast been which thou forgetst. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible to enter human hearing, from Argier thou knowst was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is not this true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, was then her servant. And for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthly and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, did she confine thee, imprisoned, into a cloven pine, which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain a dozen years, within which space she died and left thee there. Then was this island saved for the son that she did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
No thing I say so. He, that Caliban, whom now I keep in service, thou best knowst what torment I did find thee, and thy groans did make wolves howl and penetrate the breasts of every angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be correspondent to command and do my spritting gently.
Do so, and after 2 days I will discharge thee.
That's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go. Make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take the shape and hither comement. Go, hence with diligence. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on, we'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, sir, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. But ho, slave Caliban! Thou earth, thou! Speak!
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say, there's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise, when?
Ariel enters like a water nymph.
Fine, apparition, my quaint Ariel. Hearken thine ear.
My lord, it shall be done.
Thou, poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth.
As wicked do as ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, drop on you both. Southwest blow on ye and blister ye all over.
For this be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall, for that vast of night that they may work all exercise on thee, thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than the bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me when thou camest first. Thou strokest me and made much of me, wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle. Cursed be I that did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you. For I am all the subjects that you have, which first was mine own king. And here you sty me in this hard rock, whilst you do keep from me the rest of the isle.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
What had been done? Thou didst prevent me. I had peopled else this isle with Calibans.
Bored slave, which any print of goodness wilt not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or another, when thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. But thy wild race, though thou didst learn, had that in it which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservingly confined into this rock, who hast deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and my profit on't is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hagseed, hence! Fetch us in fuel, and be so quick, thou art best to answer other business. Shouldst thou, malice? If thou neglectst or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
Oh, pray thee! I must obey. His art is of such power that it would control my dam's god Setibos and make a vassal of him.
So, slave, hence.
Ariel, with spirits, are invisible to Ferdinand, playing and singing.
Come into these yellow sands, and take curtain when you haven't kissed the wild waves sweep, footed fleetly here and there, and sweet sprites the burden. Hark, hark, bow, bow, the watchdogs bark. Bow, bow, hark, hark, I hear the strain of strutting chanticleer. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Where should this music be? In the air or the earth? It sounds no more, and as should it waits upon some god of the island, sitting on a bank, weeping again the king my father's wrack. This music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion. With its sweet air thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me rather, but it's gone. No, begins again.
4 fathom gave 5 thy father lies, of his bones are those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him that doth fade, but the suffer as he change into something rich and strange. Sinews are wearing his knell. Hark, now I hear them ding-dong bell.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance and say what thou seest yond.
What is it, a spirit? Lord, how it looks about, believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
Oh, wench, it eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have. Such! This gallant which thou seest was in the rack, but he's something stained with grief that's beauty's canker. Thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find him.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure. The goddess of whom these airs attend, vouchsafe my prayer, may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder, if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language. Heavens! I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but were to spoken.
How? The best? What wert thou if the King of Naples heard thee?
A single thing, as I am now, that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does I weep, myself from Naples, who with mine eyes never since at ebb beheld the king my father wracked.
Alack for mercy.
Yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan, and his brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee, if now 'twere fit to do it. At the first sight they have changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word!
Why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. Pity moved my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin and your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples.
Soft, sir. One word more. They are both on each other's powers. But this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more, I charge thee. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and have put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the Lord on't.
No, I am a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit has a fair house, good things will strive to dwell with it.
Follow me, speak you not for him. He's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots, and husks wherein the acorn cradled. Follow.
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Ferdinand draws his sword, and Prospero charms him from moving.
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What I say, my foot, my tutor? Put thy sword up, traitor, who makes a show but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father.
Hence, hang not on my garments.
Sir, have pity, I'll be his surety.
Silence. One word more shall make thee chide thee. Make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What, an advocate for an impostor? Hush! Thou thinks there is no more such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban? Foolish wench! To the most of men this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affection are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in their infancy again, and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wrack of all my friends, nor this man's threat to whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day. Behold this maid. All corners else o' the earth let liberally make use of space enough. Have I in such a prison?
It works. Come on. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark, what else thou shalt do me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a good nature, sir, then he appears by speech. This is unwanted, which now came from him.
Thou shalt be as free as mountain winds, but then do exactly all points of my command.
To thy syllable.
Come, follow, speak not for him.
Act 2, Scene 1. On another part of the island.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all of joy. For our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like cold porridge.
The visitor will not give him over so.
Look, she's winding up the watch of her wit. By and by it will strike.
Sir,
One tell.
when every grief is entertained that's offered comes to the entertainer,
$1.
dolour comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you purposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord.
Fie, what a spendthrift is she of her tongue.
I prithee, peace. Spare.
Well, I have done, but yet.
You will be talking.
Which, for a good wager, who first begins to crow?
The hen.
The cock.
Done. The wager.
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seemed to be desert,
You're paid.
uninhabitable and almost inaccessible,
Yet.
She could not miss it.
It must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Oh, temperance is delicate wench.
Aye, and as subtle as she most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs, and rotten ones.
Or as 'twere perfumed by a fen.
Here is everything advantageous to life.
True. Save means to live.
Of that there's little or none.
How lush and lusty the grass looks, how green.
The ground indeed is tawny.
With an eye of green in it.
She misses not much.
No, she doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit.
As many vouched rarities are.
That our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of her pockets could speak, would it not say she lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up her report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on and first in Africa, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Claribel to the king of Tunis.
'Twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon of their queen. Sir, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis at the marriage of your daughter, who is now the queen.
And the rarest that e'er came there.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's marriage.
You cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I have never married my daughter there, for coming thence my son is lost, and in my rate she too, who is so far from Italy removed. I ne'er shall see her. O thou mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish hath made his meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in lusty stroke to the shore that o'er his wave-worn basis bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss, that would not bless all Europe with your daughter, but rather loose her to an African, where she at least is banished from your eye, who hath cause to wet the grief.
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled to and important otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end of the beam should bow. We have lost your son, I fear forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault is your own.
So is the dearest lost.
Mistress, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
And most doctorly.
It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather.
Very foul.
Had I a plantation of this isle, my lord?
She'd sow it with needle seed.
Or docks or mellows.
And were the king on it, what would I do?
Escape being drunk for want of wine.
In the Commonwealth I would, by contraries, execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate. Letters should not be known. Riches, poverty, and use of services, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of land, till, vineyard, none. No use of metal, corn, or wine, or oil. No occupation. All men idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure, no sovereignty.
Yet she would be queen on it.
The latter end of her commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have. But nature should bring forth of its own kind, all foison, all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying amongst her subjects.
None fair, all idle. Whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
Save her majesty!
Long live Gonzala!
And, do you mark me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always use to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Who, in this kind of merry fooling, am nothing to you. So you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow was there given.
And it had not fallen flat long.
You are both of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing.
Ariel and several spirits enter, invisible to Gonzala and Sebastinia and others.
We would so, and then go a-fowling.
Nay, good my lady, be not angry.
No, I warrant you. I will not adventure my discretion so easily. Will you laugh me asleep? Oh, for I am very heavy.
Go sleep and hear us.
What, also soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would with themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits sorrow. When it doth, it is a comforter.
We too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest and watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possessed them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth not then our eyelids sink? I find myself not disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all as by consent. They dropped as by thunderstroke. What might, worthy mistress, oh, what might? No more. And yet methinks I see it in thy face, what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head. And thy husband's.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakst out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Dear lady, thou lettest thy sharp fortune sleep, thy rather winkst while thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy words.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me. Which to do troubles thee o'er.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so. To ebb hereditary sloth instructs me.
Ah, but if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, whilst thus you mock it, how in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men indeed most often do so near the bottom run by their own fear or sloth.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, woman, although this lady of weak remembrance, this who shall be of as little memory when she is earthed, hath here she almost persuaded, for she's a spirit of persuasion, only professes to persuade, the king, his son's alive. 'Tis as impossible that he is undrowned as she that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he is undrowned.
Out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope that way is another way so high, a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but discover doubt there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
10 leagues beyond man's life, she that from Naples can have no note, unless the sun were post. We all were sea swallowed, though some cast again, and by that destiny, to perform an act whereof what's past is prologue, but to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true, my brother's daughter's queen of Tunis, so is she, heir of Naples, twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Claribel measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis and let Sebastiania awake. Say this word death that now hath seized them. Why, they were no worse than now they are. What a sleep were this for your advancement. Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments sit upon me. Much feeder than before, My brother's servants were then my fellows. Now they are my men.
But for your conscience.
Aye, woman, where lies that? 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan. Can ye be they and melt ere they molest? Here lies your brother no better than the earth he lies upon. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead, whom I with this obedience steal, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gost Milan, I'll come by tables. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the queen, shall love thee.
Draw together, and when I rear my hand, do you the like,
Oh,
to fall it on Gonzala.
but one word.
My master through his art foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, or else his project dies, to keep them living.
While you here do snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy, his time doth take.
If of life you keep a care, shake off slumber and beware. Awake, awake.
Then let us both be sudden.
Now, good angels, preserve the king.
The spirits leave suddenly.
Why, how now? Ho, awake? Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
While we stood here securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing like bulls, or rather lions. Did it not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear, to make an earthquake. Sure it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzala?
Upon mine honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one too, which did awake me. I shaked you, sir, and cried. As mine eyes opened, I saw their weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best we stand upon our guard, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Beat off this ground, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Heavens keep him from these beasts, for he is sure the island.
Beat away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
Act 2, Scene 2. Another part of the island. Caliban enters carrying a burden of wood.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, flats on Prosper fall, and make him by inch meal a disease. His spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. But they'll nor pinch, fright me with urchin shows, pitch me in the mire, nor lead me like a firebrand in the dark out of my way, unless he bid 'em. But for every trifle are they set upon me, sometimes like apes that mow and chatter at me, and after bite me, then like hedgehogs which lie tumbling in my barefoot way, and mount their pricks at my footfall. Sometimes am I all wound with adders, who with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. Lo now, lo! Here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me for bringing wood in slowly. I'll fall flat, perchance he will not mind me.
Ugh, here's neither bush nor shrub, to bear off any weather at all. Oh, and another storm brewing. Oh, I hear it sing in the wind. Oh, yond black cloud, same black cloud, yond huge one. Oh, looks like a foul barge that would shed his liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where I will lie my head. Oh, yon same cloud cannot choose but fall by pailfuls. Oh, what have we here? Man or fish? Dead or alive? Oh, a fish. Oh, he smells very much like a fish. Oh, strange and ancient fish-like smell. A kind of, not of the newest, poor John. Oh, strange fish. Were I in England now, as I once was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool there but would give a piece of silver. There this monster would make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When will they not give a doit to relieve a lame beggar? They will lay out 10 to see a dead Indian. Legs like a man, and his fins like arms, and warm, oh my troth. I do now let loose my opinion. Hold it in no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that have lately suffered by a thunderbolt. Oh, alas, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There's no other shelter hereabout, and misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I will here shroud till the dregs of the storm pass.
Trinculo hides under the gabardine with Caliban.
I shall no more to sea. Here shall I die ashore. This is a very scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort. Well, the master, the swabber, the boatswain, and I, the gunner and his mate, loved Moll, Megan, Marion, and Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate, for she had a tongue with a tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. She loved not the flavor of tar nor pitch, yet a tailor might scratch her where she did itch. Then to sea, boys, and let her go hang. Oh, this is a scurvy tune, too. Well, but here's my comfort. What's the matter? Have we devils here? Do you put tricks upons with salvages and men of Indy? Huh? I have not scaped drowning to be afeard now of your 4 legs. For it hath been said, as proper a man as ever went on 4 legs cannot make him give ground. And it shall be said so again, while Stefano breathes at nostrils.
The spirit torments me! Oh!
This is some monster of the isle with 4 legs who hath got, as I take it, an ague. Where the devil should he learn our language? I will give him some relief, if it be but for that. If I can recover him, and keep him tame, and get to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor who ever trod on neat's leather.
Do not torment me, prithee. I'll bring my wood home faster.
He's in his fit now, and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. If he has never drunk wine afore, it will go near to remove his fit. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I will not take too much for him. He shall pay for him that hath him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but little hurt. Thou wilt anon. I know it by thy trembling. Now Prospero works upon thee.
Come on your ways, open your mouth. Here is that which will give language to you, cat. Open your mouth. This will shake your shaking, I can tell you, and that soundly. You cannot tell who's your friend. Open your chaps again.
I should know that voice. It should be, no, but he is drowned. Oh, these are devils. Oh, defend me.
4 legs and 2 voices. A most delicate monster. His forward voice now is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will recover him, I will help his ague. Come. Amen. I will pour some in thy other mouth.
Stefano!
Doth thy other mouth call me? Mercy, mercy, this is a devil and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoon.
Stefano, if thou beest, Stefano, touch me, speak to me, for I am thy friend, Trinculo. Be not afeard, my good friend, Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by the lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed. How camest thou to be the siege of this moon calf? Can he vent Trinculos?
Him to be killed with a thunderstroke. Oh, but thou art not drowned, Stefano. I hope that thou not art drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under the dead moon calf's gabardine for fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stefano? Oh, Stefano, to Napoleon escaped.
Prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant.
These be fine things, and if they be not sprites, that's a brave god that bears celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon a butt of sack, which the sailors heaved overboard. By this bottle, which I made of the bark of a tree, with mine own hands since I was cast ashore.
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here, swear then how thou escapest.
Sworn ashore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck. I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
No, Stefano, have you any more of this?
The whole butt, man. My cellar is in a rock by the seaside where my wine is hid. How now, mooncalf, how does thine ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. My mistress showed me thee, and thy dog, and thy bush.
Come, swear to that. Kiss the book. I will furnish it anon with new contents. Swear.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I feared of him. A very weak monster. The man in the moon. Oh, most credulous monster. Well drawn monster in good sop.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of this island, and I will kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my god.
Oh, by this light, most perfidious and drunken monster. When God's asleep, he'll rob his bottle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject.
Come on then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster. Oh, scurvy monster, I couldn't find to beat him.
Come, kiss.
Ugh, for that poor monster's in drink. Abominable monster.
I'll show thee the best springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee wood enough. I'll a plague upon the tyrant that I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man.
Most ridiculous monster to make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
I prithee, let me bring thee where crabs grow, and I with my long nails will dig thee pig nuts, show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmoset. I'll bring thee to clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get thee young scammels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
I prithee now, lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the king and all our company else be drowned. We will inherit here. Here, bear my bottle. Fellow Trinculo, we'll fill him by and by again.
Farewell, master. Farewell. Farewell.
Howling monster. Drunken monster.
Nor dams I'll make for fish, nor fetch in firing yet requiring, nor skate trenching, nor wash dish ban. Oh, Caliban has a new master. Get a new man. Freedom, high day, freedom, freedom, high day, freedom.
Oh, brave monster, lead the way.
Act 3, Scene 1. Before Prospero's cell. Enter Prospero at a distance, unseen by Miranda, and Ferdinand, who enters bearing a log.
This, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead, and make my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some 1,000 of these logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work, says such baseness had never like executor. I forget, but these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors, most busyless when I do it.
Alas, now pray you work not so hard. I would delighting had burnt up those logs that you are enjoined to pile. Pray set those down and rest you. This burns to weep with having worried you. My father is hard at study. Now pray, rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray give me that, I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature, I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my goodwill is to it, and yours is against it.
Poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me. When you are by at night, I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of admiration, worth what dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, never any with so full soul, but some defect in her, did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed, and put it to the foil. But you, oh, you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex. No woman's face remember save from my glass mine own, nor have I seen more that I may call men than you, good friends, and my dearest father. How features are abroad I am skilless of, but by my modesty, the jewel and my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you. Nor can imagination form a shape besides yourself to like of, but I prattle something too widely, and my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am, in my condition, a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would not more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it, and for your sake am I this patient logman.
Do you love me?
Oh, heaven, oh, earth, bear witness to this sound, and crown what I profess with this kind event, if I speak true, if hollowly invert what best is boded me to mischief, I beyond all limit of what else in the world do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
Mine unworthiness that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence bashful cunning and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you'll marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow, you may deny me, but I'll be your servant, whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
Aye, with a heart as willing as bondage ere of freedom, here's my hand.
And mine with my heart, and now farewell, till half an hour hence.
1,000.
So glad of this, as they I cannot be, who art surprised withal, but my rejoicing at nothing can be more. I'll to my book, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
Act 3, Scene 2, another part of the island.
Tell not me. When the butt is out, we will drink water, not a drop before. Therefore bear up and boredom. Servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster? Ugh, the folly of this island. To say that there's but 5 of us on this isle, and we are 3 of them? If the other 2 be brained like us, the state totters.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where else should they be set? If he were a brave monster, indeed, if they were set in his tail.
My man monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam ere I could recover the shore, 35 leagues off and on. By this light, thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Your lieutenant, if you list, it's no standard.
We'll not run, monsieur monster.
Oh, nor go neither, but if you'll lie like dogs, yet neither go. Nothing, neither.
Mooncalf, speak once in thy life, if thou beest a good mooncalf.
How does thy honor? Let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him. He's not Valen.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am in case to jostle a constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou. Was there ever a man, a coward, that hath drunk so much sack as I today? Oh, wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half fish and half monster?
Oh, how it mocks me! Wilt thou let her, my lord?
Well, Lord, quoth he, that monster should be such a natural.
Lo, again! Bite it to death, I pray.
Trinculo, keep a good tongue in your head. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree. The poor monster's my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
Thank my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Marry, will I. Kneel and repeat it. I will stand, and so shall Trinculo.
Enter Ariel, invisible to Caliban and the others.
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer that by his cunning hath cheated me of the island.
Thou liest!
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey, thou! I would my valiant master would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, if you trouble him any more in his tale, by this hand I will supplant some of your teeth.
I said nothing!
Mum then, and no more. Proceed.
I say, by sorcery he got this isle. From me he got it. If thy greatness will revenge it on him, for I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, my lord. I'll yield him thee asleep, where thou mayest knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest, thou canst not.
What a pied ninny is this, thou scurvy patch? I do beseech thy greatness, give her blows, and take the bottle from it. When that's gone, it shall drink naught but brine, for I'll not show her where the quick freshes are.
Trinculo, run into no further damage. Interrupt the monster one word further, and by this hand I'll turn my mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of thee.
Oh, what did I? I did nothing. I'll go further off.
Didst thou not say he lied?
Thou liest.
Do I so? Take thou that! As you like this, give me the lie another time.
Oh, I did not give the lie. Out of your wits, are you hearing it too? A pox on your bottle. This can sack and drinking do. You Marian to your monster, and the devil to your fingers.
Ha!
Now, forward with your tale. Prithee, stand further off.
Beat her enough. After a little time, I'll beat her too.
Stand further, come, proceed.
Why, as I told thee, 'tis a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayest brain him, having first seized his books, or with a log batter his skull, or punch him with a stake, or cut his wizen with thy knife. Remember first to possess his books, for without them he's but a sot, as I am, nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I. Burn but his books. He has brave utensils, for so he calls them, which, when he has a house, he'll deck withal. And that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her a nonpareil. I never saw a woman, but only Sycorax, my dam, and but she's as far surpasseth Sycorax as greatest does least.
Is it so brave a lass?
High lord, she will become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I will be king and queen, save our graces, and Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Oh, excellent, yes.
Give me thy hand. I am sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Within this half hour will he be asleep. Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, on mine honor.
This I will tell my master.
Thou makest me merry. I am full of pleasure. Let us be jocund. Will you troll the catch you taught me a while ere?
At thy request, monster, I will do reason, any reason. Come on, Trinculo, let us sing. Flout 'em and scout 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em, foot is free.
That's not the tune.
Well, what is this same?
That is the tune of our catch, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest a devil, take us as thou list.
Oh, forgive my sins.
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee. Mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sounds, and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about mine ear, and sometimes voices that, if I then wake after long sleep, will make me sleep again. And then, in dreaming, the clouds methought would open and show riches ready to drop upon me. And when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, or I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed.
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
Oh, the sound is going away. Oh, let's follow it after and do our work.
Lead monster, we'll follow. I could see this taborer. He lays it on.
Wilt come? I'll follow Stefano.
Act 3, Scene 3. Another part of the island.
By our Lakin, I can go no further. Sir, my old bones ache. Here's a maze trod indeed through forthrights and meanders. By your patience, I needs must rest me.
Old Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness, the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. And here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned, whom we thus stray to find. And the sea mocks our frustrate search on land.
I am right glad that he's so out of hope. Do not for one repulse forego the purpose that you resolved to effect.
The next advantage, we will take it thoroughly.
Let it be tonight, for now they are oppressed with travail. They will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark.
Marvelous, sweet music.
Several strange spirits bring in a banquet. They dance about it with salutations and invite the king and company to eat. The spirits depart.
Give us kind keepers, heavens, what were these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe that there are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix's throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both. And what does else want credit? Come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemn 'em.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes these are the people of the island, who, though they are of monstrous shape, yet note, their manners are more gentle, kind than of our human generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
I know, honest lady, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils.
Cannot too much muse such shapes, such gestures, and such sound expressing, although they want use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Praise in departing. Dost thou not see they vanished?
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Will it please you to taste what is here?
Not I.
Faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were children, who would believe that there were mountaineers dewlap like bowls whose throats had hanging at them wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for one will bring us good warrant of.
Thunder and lightning. Enter Ariel like a harpy, claps his wings upon the table, and with a quaint device, the banquet vanishes from sight.
You are 3 of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world and what's in it, the never surfeited sea, hath caused to belch up you. And on this island, where man doth not inhabit, you amongst men being most unfit to live, I have made you mad.
Alonso and Antonio draw their swords to attack.
You fool! I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds, or with Gimok that stabs kill the still closing waters, as diminish one dowel that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. But remember, for that is my business to you, that you three from Milan did supplant good Prospero, him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers, delaying not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores. Yea, all the creatures against your peace. Nothing but heart sorrow and a clear life ensuing.
Ariel vanishes in a clap of thunder.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel, a grace it had devouring. Of my instruction hast thou nothing bated in what thou hadst to say, so with good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done, my high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They are now in my power, and in these fits I leave them, whiles I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine loved darling.
In the name of something holy, sir, why stand you in this strange state?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. Methought the billows spoke and told me of it. The wings did sing it to me in the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe pronounced the name of Prosper. It did base my trespass. Therefore my son in the woes bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than e'er plummet sounded, and with him there lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time, I'll fight their legions over.
I'll be thy second.
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now gins to bite the spirits. I do beseech you that are of suppler joints, follow them swiftly, and hinder them from what this ecstasy may now provoke them to.
Act 4, Scene 1, before Prospero's cell.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compassion and compensation makes amends for I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here afore heaven I ratify this rich gift. O Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast her off, for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it against an oracle.
And as my gift and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. But if thou dost break her virgin knot before all sanctimonious ceremonies may with full and holy rite be ministered, no sweet aspersion shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate, sour-eyed disdain, and discord shall bestrew the union of your bed with weeds so loathly that you shall hate it both. Therefore, take heed, as Hymen's lamps shall light you.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now the murkiest den, most opportune place, the strongest suggestion, our worser genius shall never melt mine honor into lust.
Fairly spoke. Sit then and talk with her. She is thine own. But Ariel, my industrious servant, Ariel.
What would my potent master? Here I am.
Thou and thy meaner fellows your last service did worthily perform. And I must use you in such another trick. Go, bring the rabble o'er whom I give thee power here to this place. Incite them to quick motion, for I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of mine art. It is my promise, and they expect it from me.
Presently.
Aye, with a twink.
Before you can say come and go and breathe twice and cry so, each one tripping on his toe, will be here with mop and mow. Do you love me, sir? No?
Oh, dearly, my delicate Ariel.
This is a most majestic vision, and harmonious charmingly. May I be bold to think these spirits? Let me live ever. So rare a wounded father and a wise make this place paradise.
Thou sayst so. You think it a most majestic vision, harmonious charmingly?
May I be bold to think these spirits?
Spirits, which by mine art I have from their confines called to enact my present fancies. Ah, sweet now, silence. Hear me. I had forgot this foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. Wait, the minute of their plot is almost come. Well done, avoid no more.
This is strange. Your father's in some passion that works him strongly.
Ah, you do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherits shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, ha! I am vexed. There with my weakness, my old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish you peace.
We wish you peace.
Ariel, come with a thought. I thank thee. Ariel, come.
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirits we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
Aye, my commander. When I presented Ceres, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again, where didst thou leave these varlets?
I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smote the air for breathing in their faces, beat the ground for kissing off their feet, yet always bending towards their project. Then I beat my tabor, at which, like unbacked clots, they pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted up their noses as they smelt music. So I charmed their ears, that calf-like they my lowing followed, through toothed briars, sharp purses, pricking goss and thorns, which entered their frail shins. At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, there dancing up to the chins, that the foul lake overstunk their feet.
This is well done, my bird. Return thou still. The trumpery in my house, go bring it hither, for stale to catch these thieves.
I go.
Devil, a born devil on whose nature nurture can never stick, on whom my pains humanely taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring.
Ariel, loaded with glittering apparel, returns.
Come, hang them on this line.
Prospero and Ariel remain invisible.
Pray you tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We are now near cell.
Monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than played the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell all horse piss, at which my nose is in great indignation.
So is mine. Do you hear, Monster? If I should take displeasure against you, look you.
Oh, thou wert but a lost monster.
Good my lord, give me thy favor still. Be patient, for the prize I'll bring thee to shall hoodwink this mischance. Therefore, speak softly, all hushed as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool.
There is not only disgrace and dishonor in that, Monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than my wedding, that this is your harmless fairy monster.
I will fetch off my bottle, though I be all ears for my labor.
Prithee, my king, be quiet. Seest thou here? This is the mouth of his cell. No noise, and enter. Do that good mischief which may make this island thine own forever, and I thy Caliban, for I thy foot liquor.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, King Stefano. Oh, peer. Oh, worthy Stefano. Look at what a wardrobe is here for thee. Oh.
Let it alone, thou fool! It is but trash!
Ho, ho, monster! We know what belongs to a frippery. Oh, King Stefano.
Put off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
Oh, ugh. Thy grace shall have it.
The dropsy drowned this fool! What do you mean to dote us on such luggage? Let alone and do the murder first. If he awake from toe to crown, he'll fill our skins with pinches, make us strange stuff.
Be you quiet, Monster. Mistress Line, is not this my jerkin? Now is the jerkin under the line. Now, jerkin, you are like to lose your hair and prove a bald jerkin.
Do. We still by line and by level and like your grace.
I thank thee for that jest. Here's a garment for it, which shall not go unrewarded while I am king of this country. Steel by line and level is an excellent pass of pate. There's another garment for it.
Ooh. Monster, come, put some lime upon your fingers and away with the rest.
I will have none on't. We shall lose our time and all be turned to barnacles or to apes with foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay to your fingers. Help to bear this away where my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Go to, carry this.
Oh, and this.
Hey, Mountain, hey!
Spirits emerge in the shape of dogs and hounds, chasing them about.
There it goes, Silver!
Fury, there! Tyrant, there! Hark!
Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo are driven out by the spirits, chasing them onward.
Go charge my goblins that they grind their joints with dry convulsions, shorten up their sinews with aged cramps, and more pink-spotted make them than pard or catamountain.
Hark! They roar!
Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lies at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall my labors end, and thou shalt have the air of freedom. For a little, follow and do me service.
Act 5, Scene 1, before Prospero's cell.
Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upright with his carriage. How's the day?
Odd the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, you said our work would cease.
I did say so when first I raised the Tempest. Say, my spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together, in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them, all prisoners, sir, in the lion grove which weather fends your cell. They cannot budge till your release. The king, his sister, thy brother, abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay. But chiefly her that you termed, sir, the good old Lady Gonzala. Her tears run down her face like winter's drops from eaves of reeds. Your charm so strongly works them, that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Thou think so, spirit.
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch, a feeling of their afflictions, and shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I am stuck to the quick, yet with my nobler reason, gainst my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend not a frown further. Go, release them, Ariel. Yes.
I'll fetch.
My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
Prospero traces a magic circle in the air.
Ye elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes, and groves, and ye that on the sands with primpless foot by moonshine do the green, sour ringlets make, whereof the ewe not bites, and you whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though you be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vaults set roaring war to the dread rattling thunder by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure. And when I have required some heavenly music, which even I do now, to work mine end upon their senses, this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound. I'll drown my book.
Ariel enters majestically. Alonso enters frantically, followed by Gonzalo, Sebastiano, and Antonio. They all enter the circle where Prospero has made, and there stand charmed.
A solemn air and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy, cure thy brains, now useless, boiled within thy skull. There stand, for your spells stopped. O good Gonzala, my true preserver and a loyal woman to him thou followest, I will pay thy graces home both in word and deed. Most cruelly did thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy sister was a furtherer in the act. Thou wert pinched for it now, Sebastinia. Flesh and blood. You, brother mine, that entertained ambition, expelled remorse and nature, whom with Sebastinia, whose inward pinches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your king. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Their understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shores that now lie foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me or would know me. Ariel, fetch me the hat and rapier in my cell. I will discase me, myself present as I was sometime Millen. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In a cowslip's bell I lie. There I couch when owls do cry. On the bat's back I do fly. After summer merrily, 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 shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
That's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee. But yet thou shalt have freedom. So. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art, there shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches, the master and the boatswain being awake, and force them to this place, and presently I prithee.
I drink the air before me and return or ere your pulse twice beat.
All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Milan as you all say, Prospero. For more assurance that a living prince does now speak to thee, I embrace this body. And to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome.
Where thou beest he or no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, as late I have been, I not know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and since I saw the afflictions of my mind, amends, with which I fear a madness only. This must crave, and if this be at all, a most strange story. Thy dukedom I resign, and I do entreat thou pardon me my wrongs. But how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, dear friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or be not, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. But you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I hear, could pluck his highness, frown upon you and justify you traitors. Huh? At this time, I will tell no tales.
You devil speaks in him.
No, for you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation. How thou hast met us here, whom 3 hours since were racked upon this shore, where I have lost, how sharp the point of this remembrance is, my dear son Ferdinand.
I am woe for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience says it is past her cure.
I rather think that you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You the like loss?
As great to me, as late and supportable to make the dear ones, dear loss, have I means much weaker than you may call to comfort you, for I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh, heavens, that they were both living in Naples, the king and queen there. That they were, I wish myself were mudded in that oozy bed where my son lies. When did you lose your daughter?
In this last Tempest. I know for sure that my dukedom, pray you, is less miraculous than what you were about to see. I pray you look in.
Here,
Dukedom, since you
Prospero.
have given me again, I will requite you as good a thing. At least bring forth a wonder to content ye as much as me my dukedom.
Here, Prospero discovers Ferdinand and Miranda playing at chess.
Sweet Lord, you play me false.
Oh, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
If this prove a vision of the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise and say how thou camest here.
Oh, wonder how many goodly creatures are there here. How beauteous mankind is. Oh, brave new worlds that has such people in it.
'Tis new to thee.
What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Your else acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. Is she the goddess that has severed us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence, she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have never heard renown, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life, and second father this lady makes him to me.
I am hers. But oh, how oddly will it sound that I must ask my child forgiveness.
No, there, sir, stop. Let us not burden our remembrances with a heaviness that's gone.
I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you gods, and on this couple drop a blessed crown. For it is you that have chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
I say amen, Gonzala.
Was Milan thrust from Milan, that his issue should become kings of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy, and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. In one voyage did Claribel her husband find at Tunis, and Ferdinand, her brother, found a wife where he himself was lost. Prospero his dukedom in a poor isle, and all of us, ourselves, when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy.
Be it so. Amen. Oh, look, sir, look. Here is more of us. I prophesied if a gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown. Now, blasphemy that swearest grace o'erboard, not an oath on shore. Hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news?
The best news is that we have safely found our king and company. The next, our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave out split, is tight and yare and bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
Sir, all this service have I done since I went.
My tricksy spirit.
These are not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how came you hither?
If I did think, sir, I were well awake, I'd strive to tell you. We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches, where but even now with strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, and more diversity of sounds, all horrible, we were waked straightway at liberty, where we in all our trim freshly beheld our royal good and gallant ship, our master capering to eye her. On a trice, so please you, even in a dream were we divided from them, and were brought moping hither.
Was it well done?
Bravely, my diligence, thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er men trod, and there is in this business more than nature was ever conduct of. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business, but pick leisure, which shall be shortly, single I'll resolve you, which to you shall seem probable, of every these happened accidents, till when, be cheerful, and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free, untie the spell. How fares my gracious sir? There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Enter Ariel, driving in Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo in their stolen apparel.
Every man shift for all the rest. And let no man take care for himself, for all is but fortune. Coraggio, bully monster, coraggio.
If these be true spies which I wear in my head, here's a goodly sight.
Oh, Setibas, these be brave spirits indeed. How fine my master is. I am afraid he will chastise me.
What things are these, my lord Antonio? Will money buy them?
Very like. One of them is a plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these men, my lord, and that woman, then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flows and ebbs, and deal in her command without her power. These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. Two of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness, I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Is not this Stefano, my drunken butler?
He is drunk now. Where had he wine?
And Trinculo is reeling ripe. Where should they find this grand liquor that hath gilded them? How camest thou in this pickle?
Oh, I have been in such a pickle since I saw you last that I fear me will never out of my bones. I shall not fear flyboing, no.
Why, how now, Stefano?
Oh, touch me not. I am not Stefano, but a cramp.
You'd be king of the isle, sirrah?
I should have been a sore one then.
This is a strange thing as e'er I looked on.
Yeah, he is as disproportioned in his manners as in his shape. Go, sirrah, to my cell. Take with you your companions. As you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will. And I'll be wise hereafter, and seek for grace. What a thrice double ass was I to take this drunkard for a god, and worship this dull fool!
Go to, away!
Hence, and bestow your luggage where you found it.
Or stole it, rather.
Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo exit.
Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such a discourse as I doubt not shall make it go quick away. The story of my life and the particular accidents gone by since I came to this isle. And in the morn, I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I have hope to see the nuptial of these, our dear beloveds, solemnized, and thence retire me to my Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take the ear strangely.
And I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and sails so expeditious that shall catch your royal fleet far off. Ariel, my Ariel chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements be free, and fare thou well. Please you, draw near.
Epilogue.
Though my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have is mine own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true I must be here confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardoned the deceiver, dwell in this bare island bare by your spell, but release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.